That's the damage. Those are the job losses across the 2 years. I just picked those 2 years, December. The recession did start in December of '07, and we didn't have any job growth until this year. So the job growth numbers pretty well cover the employment side of the recession. 2.2 million construction or manufacturing workers. If you just look at the red side, just the bleeding side, and forget the few gains there, we take those gains out of here, that number is 9.2 million. The reds add up to 9.2 million. So you have about 25%, close to 22%, 23% of your workers here, close to 15 to 18%. I can't remember the percentages, but these four sectors, 80% of your job loss. But everybody got slammed except for the federal government. That isn't a really big number. That was all in Washington. We noticed it, but nationally, that isn't a very big number. That's a pretty big number. Tells you where the action's going to be, and we lost all those since then and more. Everything contracted. It wasn't a manufacturing. Started out really with manufacturing and then construction. These guys brought, in a way, a lot of the rest of it down. Some of it's structural. We're not going to get some of those jobs back. But it is pretty impressive how widespread the impact was. And here are the gains. I've changed the scale to make it feel better so that it looks like we've really got a lot of jobs over here, but this isn't so good, but it's what we have currently through 10 months. And the state and local government losses, when I had that through September the other day, it was almost 100,000 less. Still bleeding, and health and education still active. Health and education went up every single week, every single month during the full recession. Never came down. It tells you a lot if you're trying to pick a next career. Health and education is pretty good. 50% of the U.S. population is going to need your services in large number. There's the 70+ million baby boomers who clearly are probably can't teach them much more, so we worry about their health. And then the echo boomer, the generation Ys, there's 75 million of them or so, and they're still many of them are still in school. The 5-year-old to 32-year-old group. So health and education is pretty strong, real mix of jobs there. In the Washington area, it's only the second fastest source of job growth, but nationally it's probably the fastest source of future job growth. And then professional business services, that's a little encouraging. Those are what we think of as the white-collar jobs in the old days. But every sector is beginning to show some life, not a whole lot, except for construction is still down. The financial sector isn't so much the meltdown that we think of, it's consolidations. There's just nobody behind the counters in the banks, and banks are still failing and being bought up, and other kinds of financial institutions are, well, they've changed their mode of operation. It's really a structural shift, as in some of the other cases, be more clear when we look at this locally. A long way to go, though. That's if the net number was 8.2 million negative, and we're only plus 600,000. That's a long way to go. And this shows that the issue. This is from Global Insight. Well, this is true up to this point. My little cheat sheet over here. I can't remember the numbers because they change. Global Insight comes out with forecasts for a number of things, and they come out every month. And I've been watching them over the last several years. But this year, the employment numbers going forward have gotten worse since the beginning of the year. Actually, since June 2015, the forecast was a 7% unemployment rate. As late as the September forecast. This is the October forecast, now 7.3. So the unemployment issue or problem, at least from Global Insight's standpoint, and they do pretty serious forecasting doesn't make them right, but they see things getting better slower now than just a few months ago. 9.7% as the average unemployment rate this year. It's going to go up again. And of course, it started higher. It was up to 10.1 at the beginning of the year. But we're sort of hovering at the bottom of this range. Next year, 9.6. No improvement, basically. 9.1. Here we are. This is an election year. Doesn't do good. 8.5, 7. I mean, what is the new norm? Well, the problem is, of course, and you've seen it, I'm sure you've seen it, is that so many of the unemployed workers don't have the skills and educational levels needed to fill the new jobs. The jobs that are being filled out there are being filled by new entrants to the workforce. They're mobile, they can move to where the jobs are. Older people can't move to where the jobs are. And there's a lot of places there aren't any jobs. And there are only a few places like here that there are jobs, and the jobs that there are require people to be adaptable. And the older you are, the less adaptable you are. At least that's been my experience.